Common financial professional licenses and certifications. Let's break it down on this episode of the Hawaii Retirement Show. All right, welcome everyone. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Hawaii Retirement Show. This episode, we're going to talk about the most common financial professional certifications and licenses that you'll see out there. There's a whole alphabet soup, and when it comes to those series license, a whole bunch of numbers that I'm sure a lot of you have come across, maybe scratched your head, maybe familiar with some, not so familiar with the others. And this isn't going to be an exhaustive overview of them all because there's just way too many to go through. But I thought I'd touch on the most common ones to kind of provide some insight and hopefully some clarity as to what they are and what they mean. I think a good place to start is to understand the difference between a financial license and a financial certification or credential. So a financial license gives you permission to do something, right? It's usually by FINRA or the NASAA. And that's giving you permission now that you have passed this licensing test, you can now do something. Like a CPA, that's a license. So you're licensed to practice accounting publicly, right? A certification or credential, it doesn't really give you any more authority, but it kind of displays an expertise, or at least that's the intention, an expertise in a given area or field. So with that, let's start with some financial advising or financial planning certifications. So the most common one out there is the CFP, or the Certified Financial Planner. Now, this one I just recently obtained. It's kind of the gold standard in the financial advising and financial planning space. It's issued by the CFP board, which is a private company. And like I said, it's currently the gold standard in the financial planning and advising field. I think they do a great job. I think with any certification and any license in any field, you have good ones and bad ones. It's like how many doctors go through medical school. That doesn't mean they're all just the greatest doctors in the world. Some are amazing, some are not so good, and a lot of them probably are average, right? I think the same holds true for a lot of these certifications. So as far as the Certified Financial Planner, the requirements for that is a bachelor degree, which can be in anything, and then you have to take 7 courses from a CFP board-approved provider. Now, I did my courses through UH at Scheidler School of Business, and you can do them through online companies. But a lot of colleges now, they have financial planning programs where you can satisfy these courses. And what these courses are, the 7 are like, there's a personal financial planning or fundamentals of financial planning course. There's a course on insurance, taxes, investments, estate planning, retirement planning and employee benefits, and then some sort of capstone course where you kind of go through case studies to kind of make it more applicable. And then additionally with the Certified Financial Planner, the CFP, you're required to either have 2 years of an apprentice style experience, meaning you're working under a CFP in financial planning, or 3 years of professional experience related to the financial planning process. So you need one of those 2. And then there's also an ethics requirement where you read through and you sign a professional standard and fiduciary declaration. And that's pretty common. The other financial planning certification that has what I think is pretty equivalent to the CFP is the Chartered Financial Consultant. And they also have the same ethics kind of stuff as the CFP. So the Chartered Financial Consultant is usually abbreviated as CHFC. And it's pretty common. I'd say, next to the CFP, it's next in line. Definitely respectable certification. It's issued by the American College of Financial Services, which has been around, I believe they've been around a really long time. And the requirements for that, there's no bachelor's degree requirement, just a high school or GED, but they do have the same experience, the same ethics, and it's pretty much the same coursework, though I believe there's 8 courses instead of 7, so there's one extra course there with the Chartered Financial Consultant. But another great certification if you see a financial advisor with CFP or CHFC, that's a good start. It's a good start. Other financial planning certifications that I think are worth noting are the RICP, which is Retirement Income Certified Professional. And this is something I'm looking at possibly getting. I've spoken with a couple advisors who have gone through it, and they definitely give it 2 thumbs up and say it's worthwhile. And as you can tell, it kind of just focuses on retirement income, so Social Security, distributions, Medicare, long-term care, and retirement tax issues. And that is also offered through the American College of Financial Services, same as the Chartered Financial Consultant. And I think that's a total worthwhile one, which I'll probably look for, the RICP. The last one, as far as the financial planning space, that's pretty common is the CPWA, which is Certified Private Wealth Advisor. And what that is, it's for high net worth or affluent clients specifically. So if you fall in that category where, I don't know what nowadays is classified as high net worth, but I would put it at that 10 million or more in assets. I would consider that high net worth. And that's where you're probably going to want to seek out somebody who's familiar with the issues that you face, right? So maybe a certified private wealth advisor can help you. Because once you reach a certain threshold, you start really looking into estate planning strategies to avoid estate taxes through different trusts or, charitable giving or, gifting while you're alive. But there's a lot of things to consider there and other tax implications once you reach that high net worth space. Okay, moving on to insurance. So I'm not getting into property casualty or health insurance or Medicare or anything like that, but there's one I wanted to touch on, which is the CLU, and that is a Chartered Life Underwriter, and it specializes in life insurance. So if you ever see somebody with a CLU designation, just know that they're an expert in all things life insurance. Okay, so moving on from that, let's go to the Chartered Financial Analyst. So before we had Chartered Financial Consultant, which is a financial planning or financial advising certification. This one is Chartered Financial Analyst, CFA. And I have the utmost respect for anybody who has this credential, CFA, Chartered Financial Analyst, because this is a very in-depth certification on securities analysis and portfolio management. And they just go way deep on, options, calls, puts, managing funds and all this kind of stuff that is definitely tip your cap worthy. And these people, they're likely to work at maybe a custodian, a brokerage, your Vanguard's Fidelity, or maybe they work for a fund manager like American Funds and they're managing different mutual funds or they're in hedge funds, but they're very investment focused, right? Market focused. They might work in the issuing of bonds, right? They might help companies issue revenue bonds or whatever it might be. It's very difficult. There's 3 levels to this test. So you can be a CFA level 1, level 2, level 3. And to pass all 3 is a huge commitment. And you definitely got to have a good head on your shoulders. And I commend them. It's just very investment focused. And for me as a financial advisor and for other financial advisors out there, it would definitely add a lot of value. But how necessary it is to, complement being a CFP is debatable. I mean, if you have it, I'm not taking anything away. It's amazing, and I would love to have it myself, but it's just not something I can see myself chasing down at this point. Okay, moving along to taxes. So, two main ones I wanted to touch on as it comes to taxes, and they are the CPA, Certified Public Accountant, which almost everybody in the U.S. is very well aware of. It's one of the most, I think it's probably the most recognizable license, because you are licensed in a state as a CPA. It is a license. It's probably the most recognizable three letters in the financial profession, right? Everybody knows a CPA. CPA means a lot of things, though, and they're great at audit, taxes, financial statements, financial operations. A lot of CFOs of companies, chief financial officers, are CPAs. So a CPA covers a pretty broad spectrum of accounting, and taxes is really one aspect of that. But you have a lot of CPAs that specialize in taxes, just like you have a lot of CPAs that might specialize in auditing or financial statements or whatever it might be. But the CPAs, they're licensed by a state to practice public accountancy. So a CPA in Hawaii is licensed through the Hawaii public accountancy, right? It's not a national. I mean, the test and the credential is recognized, but you'd have to apply to be licensed in each different state. Okay, so the next one I want to talk about as far as taxes is an enrolled agent. And I recently just passed the 3 tests required to be an enrolled agent. The 3 tests are individual, business, and then the 3rd test is representation, practices, and procedures. So I like to think of the enrolled agent as the taxes part of what a CPA is. So remove the audit, the financial statements, the financial operations, and all the other stuff, and just take the taxes part of a CPA, and that's an enrolled agent. It doesn't focus on anything other than taxes. And once you pass and you apply to the IRS, you're admitted to practice before the IRS, meaning you can represent tax clients in communications and audits and all that other stuff. So I like to consider it, maybe I'm biased because I just passed the 3 tests, but you're an expert when it comes to taxes. That's an enrolled agent. And one thing to note that I didn't kind of touch on is continuing education. Almost all these certifications have some form of continuing education. There's a number of hours through accredited courses that people need to take to keep up these certifications. And both the CPA and enrolled agent definitely have continuing ed associated with that. So that kind of sums up those certifications and licenses from financial planning. We did the insurance, we did the taxes, we did the investments with the CFA. Now I want to move on to the Series Financial Securities License. So you hear a lot of these Series 6, Series 7, Series 63. And this is where the numbers come in more so than the alphabet soup of CFP, CHFC, and all that other stuff. And what these series licenses are is, first off, they're either governed or administered from 2 agencies, right? FINRA, which is the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, or NASAA, NASA, which is the North American Securities Administrators Association. One of those 2 is overseeing the securities licenses. So for FINRA, the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, there's the 2 most common are the Series 6 and Series 7. The Series 6, if somebody has this, has their Series 6 license, then they can sell packaged investment products, essentially. It's a limited investment securities license. They can sell you variable annuities or mutual fund shares. They can sell packaged products. The Series 7 is a step up, because that's the general securities representation license, or representative license, right? And once you get your Series 7, you're typically listed as a registered rep or registered representative. And with the Series 7, you can also sell those packaged investment products, but in addition, you can sell the individual stocks, bonds, calls, puts. There is some limitations. You can't sell commodities futures or real estate and life insurance with the Series 7, but it really is as far as stocks and bonds, calls and puts, options, your variable annuities, your mutual funds, Series 7 gets you covered. Now, you don't need the Series 7 to be a financial advisor, because if you're not acting as sort of a broker to buy or sell individual securities, calls, and puts, then you still can be a financial advisor with the NASAA licenses, right? So I don't have my Series 7 or Series 6 because I don't deal with the purchasing or selling of individual stocks and bonds directly to consumers. So what I have is the Series 65, which is Uniform Investment Advisor Law Exam, and it's required for individuals providing financial advice on a non-commission basis, right? So I provide financial advice on a non-commission basis. I have my Series 65, and these are the Series 63, 65, 66. They're law exams, so you understand the laws associated with the financial services industry. The Series 63 is the Uniform Securities Agent State Law Exam, and it's required by each state, and then all Series 6 and Series 7 licenses must carry the Series 63 as well. So FINRA, Series 6, Series 7. Series 6 is package investment products. Series 7, stocks, bonds, calls, puts, all that other stuff. And then the NASAA is the Series 63 and 65. But then there's also the Series 66, which is a newer exam that combines the 63 and 65. But if you have the 6 or 7, then you need the 63 or the 66, right? I know it's a lot, and it goes over the head of most people. It's just as a consumer, I don't think you have to worry too much about diving into what license they have, because that's more on the advisor or the broker's back end to make sure they're compliant with the states and the federal oversight. As a consumer, I think it's much more important to look at the certifications. Not to say it's not important to look for these, the series securities licenses, but it's much more important to look at, okay, how are they qualified as far as their expertise? Are they a CFP or a CHFC? Do they have the retirement income certified professional? Do I need a private wealth advisor because I'm high net worth, so I need to look for somebody with the CPWA, and so on and so on. But yeah, don't get too caught up in the series financial securities licenses. That's more for the back office and compliance. And if an advisor is operating without those securities licenses, they're at least the ones that they're required to have, they're operating in a world of hurt, and the roof's going to come falling in on them by the oversight authorities there. But I think that kind of does it. I know that was a lot. There's a lot of different certifications and licenses in the financial services. We barely scraped the surface. There's still so much more to touch on. But hopefully that provides some context. If there's any others that you want me to touch on the show, shoot me an email, aloha@hawaiiretirementshow.com, and we can dive into others in the future. All right. Well, I think that does it. Catch everyone on the next episode. As always, mahalo for tuning in and listening to the Hawaii Retirement Show. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the show on whichever platform you choose to listen on. If you have a retirement planning question that you'd like us to talk about on our show, please email it over to aloha@hawaiiretirementshow.com. And until next time, aloha and happy planning.
The opinions and statements presented on this show are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations. Never make any investment or financial decisions based on information offered on this show without first consulting your financial, legal, or tax advisor. All economic and performance information mentioned on the show is historical in nature and is not indicative of any future results. All indices mentioned on this show are unmanaged and cannot be invested in directly. All information is believed to be from reliable sources. However, we make no representation as to its completeness or accuracy. Lastly, all opinions expressed by Jason Cutitta and any guests on the show are solely their own opinions and do not reflect the opinions of or are endorsed by ToBA Financial. For Jason Cutitta, investment advisory services are offered through ToBA Financial LLC, a registered investment advisor offering advisory services in the state of Hawaii and in other jurisdictions where exempt from registration.